Well, I've had nothing so far, nothing's happened at all. There's a lot of moisture in the air and it's very misty and really miserable. I am crossing all my fingers, gonna get a bite. Well, nothing else has been caught on the whole lake, no carp at all. Well, you joined me at Chequertree, a day ticket that I haven't fished in, what, 2 years I think it is. I did a video here where I didn't really catch any carp. I think I ended up with a sturgeon at the end. It probably end up with a sturgeon on this session as well, which would be a bit weird considering it's all about carp fishing. The lake I came here to fish actually has a match on at the moment. These lakes are sort of match venues, but they're also carp venues as well. There's carp to £30 in one and the other one sort of like mid-20. They do matches on them as well. It's got a lot of coarse fish. I'm probably going to get a few today. I've caught lots of carp from this lake over the years. Some decent ones and mostly small ones. But it was one of my first ever like proper winter venues that I came to, and I had lots and lots of species, including carp and sturgeon and goldfish and F1s and all sorts of species. Obviously I was here for the carp, but I caught everything else as well. The area I've picked, I haven't really fished that many times. I do know a little spot under a tree in the margins that's quite firm and has done carp up to sort of £23. Well, it wasn't really me that called the £23, it was my brother, but I know that it's a good spot. Also, I've picked an area on the island. An island's always good to try out. Haven't had a huge amount of carp from the island in the past. Mostly small species, but I'll see what happens on that. Well, at least I've picked a winter venue. I'm only here for the day, but I'm sure I'm going to get a bite or two. Let's see. I just want to say thank you for Parker Baits for sending me some bait. I have been given some 10 millers for my session. I've also got some liquid as well to go with it. It's a fruit and nut. So I do like the fruit and nut. I've been using it quite a while now, and the 10 millers is something interesting and something new. I don't often fish with 10 millers. I usually fish with 15 mil baits, and but I like the idea of feeding out 10 millers because I think that'd be a bit different. So I'm going to give it a go today, and hopefully I'll get me a few fish. My rigs are Ronnie rigs. One's on a clip and one is on a helicopter rig. One is in the margin on the clip, and then the helicopter rig is cast towards the island. The one in the margin is on 2 10 millers, just straight bottom baits. They're only small little baits, so I'm not too worried about using it on the Ronnie rig. If they were any bigger, that I probably would want to put a little bit of buoyancy in there. And on the other one, I've actually got one 10 miller, but I've also put on top a little red pop-up. It's little homemade baits that I've made that are really, really small. They're about sort of 10 mil, and they go well with it at the moment. It's like a little mini snowman, I suppose. Yeah, and that's the one towards the island. So for now, that's what I'm going to stick with. They do like yellow in here, so I may change to a yellow plastic corn or a yellow pop-up, but we'll see what happens for now. On the one on the island, I'm actually just slingshotting some 10 millers over the top. The one in the margin, I thought I'd go for something a bit more interesting. I've got crushed up fruit and nut boilies in there. I've got maggots, I've got the 10 millers in there as well, and I'm adding a load of fruit and nut liquid to it. And I've also got a few pellets in there because it's a day ticket and they respond really well to pellets. It may attract other species, but carp love it as well. I'm not putting out a huge amount of baits to start with. I'm just keeping it very simple, very light, and see what happens really. Well, I've had nothing so far, nothing's happened at all. I've seen a few goldfish on the surface, just jumping up. That's it. Nothing to report. I've changed one of my hook baits. The one in the margin I've changed to a 12mm yellow pop-up, and I've tipped it off of a plastic maggot. Just because I'm feeding maggots in. I don't really want to put maggots on top of my rig because the roach in here will just tear it to bits. What I'm going to do is probably going to give it another sort of, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. If nothing happens at all, I may move. It's not that big of a lake and moving may not make much of a difference, but it's worth trying at least, and you never know, it might make a difference. So what I'm probably going to do is start packing away a few bits and bobs. A few bits and bobs. Yeah, I'm going to start packing away a few things and then might make a move. But if I don't get anything in the next sort of 20 minutes, then I'm obviously going to do that. But if I do suddenly get a take, then I probably will stay in this swim and keep going with it. But so far, nothing's happened, so I'm sure a move is on the cards. So let's see. Well, I've moved. This is one of my favourite swims on this lake, and I've had the most carp and other species and sturgeon and all sorts from this swim. Even when the whole lake is not fishing very well, this swim usually does quite a few bites. But the only thing is, I've only got a couple of hours left in my session, so I'm really tight for time, and hopefully something happens soon. I've decided to put one out about 3/4 out. I usually try and put one out into the open water in front of me. Between halfway and 3/4 the way out is usually where I go. And I've just slingshotted a few 10mm over the top. I've started the same bait as I had on before. I've just fired a load of 10mm around it, maybe a couple of pouches of them. And it usually works. Normally I put like 15mm out and I just fish for a little snowman, and normally I catch. So it's very similar to what I normally use anyway on here. The other rod I've actually decided to put on a channel. There's a little channel to my right, and it is really deep in the channel. It's shallow at the beginning of the channel, and then it gets deeper towards the back of it. And sometimes when you put a lot of bait in the middle, you can really draw them out. and sometimes they're sitting just in that deep water just behind where the channel is. There's like a little bit that just drops away, and yeah, usually they come round at some point or another. Nobody has fished it all day. There was some people fishing on the other side of the bank. That's the reason I couldn't get into the swim. I just couldn't fish that area, the areas that I wanted anyway. And now that they've gone, I've got all of this part of the lake to myself now, which is really good, and that channel is probably my favourite spots in the whole lake. So you never know, something could happen. I've put a couple of scoops of that bait with the maggots and boilies in it, and I've put a couple of scoops in the middle, and I've just spread it around a little bit. I haven't just clomped it in one area. I'll see if anything happens. I am crossing all my fingers. Gonna get a bite. It might end up being a sturgeon though, and be honest, if I do get one, I'm still going to show it. It's not a carp, but at least it's something. They do normally feed even in the most freezing temperatures on here, so you never know. Something might happen. I'm after a carp, but if I catch one of them, I'm not going to be disappointed. At least it'll be something a bit interesting for the session. So see what happens. Well, nothing else has been caught on the whole lake, no carp at all, only me, and I think I'm really lucky to catch this carp, and I'm going to get the rod back in and maybe I'll get something else, but it's been really difficult. I caught this one on the little snowman with the 10mm bottom bait, tipped off with my little homemade red little pop-up, and yeah, it's worked, and I knew it was going to work. I'm going to get this carp back, and yeah, hopefully we get a chance again. Whoa, I actually caught something. That is a massive achievement because it's been really hard. Nobody else has caught on the whole entire lake. Nobody else has had a single carp. They've had a few roach and stuff like that, but no carp at all. Yeah, I've only been in this swim, what, 10 minutes or something like that. I've had carp already, and my margin one is already getting a few knocks and a few indications as well. So something is definitely in there. By the look of it, it's a sturgeon. Because when they come in, they sort of pick up your line and whack it around. They're so long and they hug the bottom, and usually you get your leader picked up a few times and your line. I sort of wait for a take really on that, but it'd be nice to get one. I haven't caught one in quite a while. But I am here for the carp, and I'm going to continue. I haven't got much time left on my session so far, so at least I've actually caught something. I'm well happy with that carp, especially as it's been so cold today. It feels like a couple of degrees. There's a lot of moisture in the air, and it's very misty and really miserable. But I've caught carp, and I'm going to keep going until I have to call it really, and hopefully I'll catch something else. That was on the little snowman type thing. It's all like a double bait really, because they're the same size, but it's like a little snowman because obviously the pop-up's on top, and that is out in the open water. Yeah, I've recast it, put a couple of more slingshots of little 10mm over the top, and yeah, I'm hoping it'll go again. I know this swim so well, and I was kind of expecting to get something. This is the one I wanted to start in, but obviously because there was a few people turned up this morning, I couldn't get on here. But you know, I'm in here now and I'm catching. It'd be nice to end with something. even if it is a sturgeon or little carp. It'd just be nice to catch one more. And the day, it's been really difficult. I've been trying really hard. Most of the time I've been sitting back and just waiting for something to happen. It's been really strange. Normally in the past I'm putting out little bits over the top of little hook baits. I'm normally getting F1s, tench, goldfish, I don't know, all sorts of weird things that are in here. And this time I haven't really had that much, really. Nothing else. Nothing's picked up those baits at all. It's been pretty miserable, really, and I felt like I was going to blank again. Last week I blanked and I thought I was in for another one, but I've managed to turn it around, and hopefully I can end with something, and maybe that make the session even better than it already is so far. At least I've had something. Well, I've managed to catch one of the species that I was after today, a goldfish. Yeah, what a little beauty. Alright, I'm going to get him back because I've got a carp in the net. So I'm going to get that out and show you. I'm going to get him back though. Well, I managed to catch another one, only a little one. It's been really difficult today. I've tried really hard and I've managed to get 2 bites right at the end. That's really good. And a goldfish. Oh, it's been really difficult, but at least I've had 2 carp. That's brilliant. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the new year. Yeah. Oh.